Oh my god, we're too late.
Let me see.
At this rate, we won't have anyone left before she goes down.
No, it's all right. She's passed out. Must have banged her head against something. Here, help me get her onto the couch.
Jane, come on, wake up!
I have some smelling salts in here. Somewhere. It's a chemical compound used to stimulate the senses after losing consciousness.
Are you sure that's what it is?
What else could it be?
Nothing, but the vial isn't labeled.
Oh, for goodness sakes, I am a professional. I know precisely what I am doing.
No, you don't. That stuff will kill her. What is all this?
Mr. Campbell, how are you so certain that what Dr. Brooks had in his hands would kill Miss Corbin?
Well, that's how my employer died. Some kind of poison. The doctor here said so.
Mr. Campbell, the only individuals that I have disclosed Mr. Tolliver's cause of death to were Inspector Gethin, Captain Smith, and Dr. O'Loughlin. I haven't even seen you since before his death.
When did you see him, Doctor?
In the reading and writing room. He came to me and claimed I dropped the vial of the strychnine on the floor outside. I didn't think of it then, but I realized I never take my medication out of my cabin. Apparently either I slipped up in my efforts, or somebody slipped into my room and took the vial himself.
That is absurd.
Then why else would you be sure that the vial Brooks had in his hands would kill Miss Corbin?
Because with all of these murders on board, one can't be too careful.
You're digging your own grave, Mr. Campbell. You were aware of Tolliver's death, but you just said murders in plural tense. If you weren't involved, how could you know about the attempted murder on Miss Kennedy?
Professor, as of maybe an hour ago, we can no longer call it attempted. This bastard came and finished the job somehow.
I'm sorry, Jamie.
What? I never killed her.
I'm also sorry to say that I'm afraid he's right, Jamie.
What?
I never said Campbell committed the murders himself. I am only pointing out that he knew about them.
What's all this then? I had you two confined in your cabin.
I think the captain's orders to abandon ship override your orders by about a mile, Inspector. Although I suppose it's good that you're here. I know how Mr. Campbell is involved in the murder of Caleb Tolliver.
You're really gonna pin this on me? What's my motive? The inspector ruled me out.
Well, that much became irrelevant ever since this morning, when you made a rather pathetic attempt at trying to win Jane back after you tossed her aside only 5 days ago.
You were never in love with me. You were in love with the idea of becoming rich. And when you believed yourself to be the prime beneficiary, you broke things off with me. But then when it turned out I would inherit, you wanted to get back together again. You're despicable.
And another point that was never really explored was this. Jane is Tolliver's niece. Why would she be down in second class and not his secretary? Perhaps it was arranged so that he could keep an eye on Campbell and not on Jane.
For what bloody purpose, pray tell? What could I, a secretary with a lame leg, possibly do to make Tolliver keep a close watch on me?
Quite a lot, actually. You place an exaggerated value on your cane, Mr. Campbell.
You were pretending to be crippled?
You said you sustained this injury in the Myron Mill explosion. That incident was over 2 years ago. Why would you carry on such a facade? Perhaps this was part of Tolliver's ploy, in order to help cover up your involvement in the factory bombing.
I had nothing to do with that bombing.
Not directly, but your counterfeit injury still places you there at the scene of the crime. But not for joining your comrades in bombing the factory, but instead for carrying out your other boss's orders to eliminate the factory's chief engineer.
What?
Sorry, sir. It's nothing personal.
This prick's the one that tried to kill me?
Tried is key when it comes to Campbell. But as Jane had said to me earlier, Campbell is incapable of committing murder. Something in his warped psychology. He couldn't kill Bennion, and he couldn't kill Miss Kennedy.
But I thought she survived because she had her hair up.
I'm obliged to you, Jamie. You brought up another key point. True, it was Campbell's psyche that prevented him from killing Miss Kennedy. But what was it you said to me about Miss Kennedy's hair?
Just that she always wore it down? Come to think of it, did she wear her hair up this morning?
Aye. She wouldn't say why, only that she needed to do it.
She said that Aoife needed to wear her hair up today. She also said Aoife was arranging to meet someone this morning.
She knows she's meeting someone, Jamie. Why does she choose today, of all days and all the time you've known her, to wear her hair up?
Because someone told her to?
But the killer would have no reason to tell her to protect herself. So somebody had to warn her. And who could warn her? Who had access to the ship's inception after hours?
Atherton?
And why would Atherton feel the need to warn Aoife?
You said he knew something.
When he came to me, he told me he had his theories, but they couldn't be proven. After going over everything, it all makes sense.
If I may interrupt, Professor, why would the boy offer his insight to you, a suspect in the murder of Caleb Tolliver? A boy committed to his post and loyal to the White Star Line, he would have known better. His instinct would have been to give what information he had to his superior, or to me, an officer of the law.
Well, I believe you just answered your own question, Inspector.
Have I now?
About his loyalty to the White Star Line. In fact, he was so loyal that the idea of a fellow crewmate being implicated in murder was simply unbelievable to him. And that is why he sought the truth out from someone other than his superior.
Well, still doesn't explain why he didn't come to me with what he knew.
Oh, my apologies. I was getting to my original point when you asked your question, Inspector. You see, Atherton told me that he couldn't trust you because last night, after you dismissed him from Campbell's cabin, he overheard you telling Campbell that Aoife Kennedy needed to be silenced.
What?
And that's why Atherton was relieved when the captain said that someone only tried to kill her. But that was also when he saw your initial reaction to the botched murder.
Did you say attempted? Hang on. It seems to me that you're jumping all over the place there. You're telling me that I gave Campbell instructions to kill the girl. Why would I want to do that? I only met her the one time.
Because she saw you and Campbell breaking into second class after you killed Tolliver.
You're very well spoken, Professor. I can see why you give lectures as your trade. But you went straight in for the what, and you still have not given me my how or why.
The how was sitting right in front of us all. Why was he down on this deck in the first place? He had no reason to be down there. Unless someone woke him up in the middle of the night and told him that he'd be safer down below decks, away from everyone he was weary of. And who else could lure him down here but the one person that he hired to keep an eye on him?
All right. You have your little opportunity. Now to the means. How could I have known about the strychnine? How could I know that Dr. Brooks carried it?
When Tolliver needed dirt on Dr. Brooks in order to force him to commit perjury, Campbell somehow dug up Brooks's medical condition he sustained after his incident. That's why you had Campbell slip into the doctor's room and swipe enough strychnine for a lethal dosage.
And the syringe?
Atherton also noted that the ship's inventory was broken into, and a syringe was missing the other night, as well as a key taken from Mr. Andrews' stateroom. The key itself was simply planted elsewhere to incriminate someone like Bennion.
And what did Atherton's notes say about my interactions with Tolliver aboard this ship? If he was really observant, he would know that Tolliver approached me, not the other way around. He is the one that gave me the threatening letters. That makes all of your assumptions top-heavy over a spur-of-the-moment crime.
I can assure you, Inspector, that everything right up to the moment of the injection of strychnine was cold, calculated, and premeditated. The letters were typewritten, possibly by Campbell, and left with the purser as soon as he and Tolliver boarded. Atherton also stated that he was present in the grand staircase outside the purser's office.
These had special instructions on them, I believe. They were to be held until the voyage was underway. Heaven help me, I can't understand why.
Yes, thank you.
This further drove the point you wanted to address, that murder could have been planned by anyone that was already on board. Need I also add that it was Campbell that told Tolliver to seek you out in the first place?
All right. Is that everything from Atherton's notes?
More or less, Inspector.
Then I'm sorry to say, but the boy's notes failed to connect the post that Tolliver received from the purser's office to the threatening letter that he showed me. If you are so knowledgeable, then why don't you tell me in your own words why you think I killed Tolliver?
Certainly. First, there was something off about your presence on this ship when you mentioned those con artists you were trailing.
The captain already knows that I was trailing a pair of con artists in Southampton.
Earlier tonight, when the three of us were searching for Atherton, we found him dying down below in the cargo hold. A knife wound to the abdomen. He used up what strength he had left to point to some luggage with a first-class tag. It said that it was the Baron and Baroness von Gutenberg, other suspects that Atherton mentioned. The tag had said they embarked from Cherbourg.
So?
But you had said you were trailing the con artists from Southampton. The inconsistency in your cover story became clear to Atherton. That's why he asked for my advice in the first place. He went down to the cargo hold to have his suspicions either confirmed or dismissed. The other slip-up you gave was that phrase you repeated from Tolliver's threatening letter.
The ship of justice rolls from starboard to port, but soon shall dock safely in court.
That's not how you said it. You worded the phrase in past tense.
You see, on the day he was murdered, he came to me with an anonymous letter. It said the ship of justice, leaving from starboard to port, has docked safely in court.
That's right, he did.
You said that justice had already docked in court, and yet no killer of Tolliver's was brought to justice at the time, unless you were referring to your own justice, hence your motive.
And that is?
The Myron Mill bombing. You killed Tolliver so that you could expose his involvement and bring the news of the factory bombing back into the spotlight.
And why would I want to go to such lengths to bring the factory bombing out into the open?
Because you were the mastermind behind it. Tolliver needed to destroy his secrets, and he needed men who had access to bombs. Who better than a group of anarchists? Campbell was the connection between the factory and the syndicate. The three of you coordinated the bombing to be carried out in such a way that Tolliver would be cleared of blame, and your cause could take credit for it.
Need I remind you, Professor, that Tolliver was reported to have claimed the fire was an accident?
Yes, and that made you furious. He went back on his word. The worst he did was lay the blame of the fire on Jamie's father. But you didn't care. You wanted the work of anarchy to be taken seriously. That's why you tried tipping off the authorities that Tolliver was involved. But all that could be accused of him was that he did it for insurance. For a second time, your plan failed. That's when you decided Tolliver needed to die. This would serve as an excuse to exploit the motives of all others who were connected to the bombing. If you gathered enough evidence from all our testimonies, you could make a formal statement that the factory bombing was in fact no accident. Tolliver seeks you out. He is at your disposal. You tell him someone is after him, and he should hide. He leaves his cabin. Campbell follows shortly afterward. You pick the lock to Scotland Road and drop the key you stole from Andrews to incriminate a stoker. The two of you make your way towards the end of the long corridor, with Campbell still trailing behind you.
We should be safe here.
You still haven't explained who you suspect was going to come after me.
I think at this point it has become very obvious. Even you should know. After all, we had a deal.
You're that anarchist nut job.
While Campbell puts back the rope, you use your gun to take out the lone light bulb to limit visibility. That was the popping noise Miss Kennedy and Atherton both heard.
And I know this because when I last visited the scene where it happened, I found what I discovered to be a spent cartridge, easily from a .32 caliber.
Right there and then is when the plan falls apart. She recognized you the next evening as you're interrogating Jamie. She wouldn't dare let you set the responsibility of murder on innocent Jamie.
Cleona said Ava wasn't trying to blackmail him. She just wanted a guarantee that I wouldn't be arrested.
But that wasn't good enough for you. You decided you'd rather kill this girl than guarantee her love's safety. So you give Campbell instructions on where to find her and to kill her. But you forgot one thing. Campbell can't kill. So the most he can do is club her from behind, and she is taken to the hospital.
And when you brought me in to be identified, it wasn't me she was screaming at. It was you. You knew she'd react violently to you. You needed me there to make me the scapegoat. Sometime later, you killed Ava!
Back against the wall, all of you! I got to hand it to you, Professor. Your ability to go into detail is uncanny. I suppose you want to know how Atherton met his fate? Well, I had a feeling he'd become suspicious of me. And when he refused my tip money, a bellboy during these trying times, I knew something was up. I also figured he still didn't give the key back to Andrews. If he gave the key back to Andrews, he could easily have told him who took it in the first place. So I followed him down to Scotland Road, did what I needed to do, and pushed him down the stairs. Then, once we had that collision, I knew there'd be a lot of commotion. So I ran up to the hospital, waited for the staff to leave, and tied up my final loose end. The pocket knife and the syringe were both in my cabin, which is, at this point, 100 fathoms deep. So unfortunately for you, you've got no murder weapons.
But we do have Atherton's statement. We have Campbell's slip-up. We have your own admission of guilt. And we have the 5 of us to corroborate our testimony. Should either of you escape the ship, we will see to it that you are met by the authorities in New York.
Oh, really? Do you think they will believe you? A medical professional who admits to have committed perjury? A stoker who tried to blackmail a tycoon? A university professor who rigged a jury's verdict? The illegitimate child of a millionaire's whore of a sister? And the son of a disgraced factory foreman? You honestly think that they will believe your words over the words of a man of the law?
They'll be more willing to believe us than they ever will to the words of an anarchist. They have no respect for anyone with political beliefs as aggressive as yours.
Yes! Don't do anything stupid! There's 4 bullets left. First was for the light bulb, second was for the doctor, and now 1 for each of you, if any of you try to leave this cabin. Mr. Campbell,
What are you doing?
You couldn't kill before, but a cornered mouse always fights back. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to offer my services to help row a boat.
You all stay in my sight. No one moves an inch. You really think I won't shoot?
Henry?
Actually, it makes even more sense to shoot you now. With you dead, the will gets reverted back to the old draft, and I get the bulk once again.
Let's think logically here. My uncle lied to you when he said he drafted a new will. How are you so sure he drafted a different one that makes you beneficiary in the first place? Come and sit down with me, please.
And clear the way for the others to run free.
We're not leaving without her.
You'll not leave at all, so you mind your business.
Henry, was I right before? When I said it was all about the money?
That's why he hated the idea of us. He saw right through me. Don't look at me as if you weren't guilty of the same mindset. As soon as your uncle took you in, you were just as starstruck by riches and spoils as I was. They were the only thing in life that you and I ever had in common.
You would have settled for a loveless marriage, all for an inheritance?
At the end of the day, love comes cheap. Love comes and goes. But fortune? Fortune is what makes life worth living for.
I'm glad you could be honest. In a way, I guess I should be grateful. I shouldn't feel guilty at all.
Guilty? Of what?
Of what's about to happen.
Now!
Oh! All right. I got him. Get to a boat. I'll deal with this bastard myself.
Alright, just make it quick. We'll wait for you up top.
Keep the gun. I won't need it. When Tolliver ordered you to take me outside and finish me, you said it was nothing personal.
Yes!
Well, it's very personal.
I'm so sorry, darling. It was all my fault.
I wouldn't have it any other way. We'll find a way out of this together.
Well, don't fret. I'll get the next one.
I can't leave this ship without my baby. We've been together for 40 years. Where you go, I go. Forgive me, Lewis. At least it's no longer a lie that a Galloway committed suicide.
I don't think she'll last much longer. The engine room's flooding, and the dynamos can't hold out for too long. Tell the Carpathia we may not have power to transmit much longer.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hankinson, muster all hands to station. All remedial duties are to be discarded for the time being. Their priority will be to receive survivors. Mr. Dean, open all gangway doors and hook up rope ladders to each door. And I want canvas bags on hand to bring up children and any sick or injured people. Mr. Bissett, I want the davits detached from our lifeboats and swung out. When their lifeboats pull up to our sides, I want our davits secured onto them so that we can have some sense of stability when the survivors climb the ladders. Mr. Reese, have electric lights rigged to every side of the ship. Mr. Barnish, see that each and every gangway door is prepared with blankets.
Sir, the Titanic says her engine room is flooded and she is sinking by the head. The wireless operator said he wouldn't have the power to transmit much longer. The Baltic replied that they're coming 200 miles from the east and are rushing to us. Titanic wants to know our time of arrival.
Tell them about 3:30. Cut off all heat and hot water. I want every ounce of steam we can muster to go straight into our engines.
Aye, aye, sir.
Are there any more women or children here?
They've all boarded, sir.
All right. Anyone else then? Come on, Brigadier. We've got space for you. The boat must go, sir.
Then let it. I've delayed my fate for long enough. I'll meet it gracefully.
Lower away.
Pardon me, sir. My wife is in a delicate condition. May I accompany her, please?
I'm sorry, sir. No men are allowed on this or any other boat until all the ladies have gone.
Can I at least have the number of the boat, so I may look for her later?
Number 4, sir. That boy can't go!
Of course he could go. He's only 13.
For God's sake. No more boys!
Don't say a word.
You know something? At the time of the collision, I was enjoying a drink and I asked the waiter for some ice. But this is ridiculous.
If I'm going to go down, I'd better go down as a gentleman.
Lower away!
The time's come to go, gentlemen. You've done all you can. You can do no more. Soon it will be everyone for himself. That's the way it is, I'm afraid. Look after yourselves.
Yes, sir.
Oh, come on, Phillips. We'll be losing power as it is. He should be up here by now.
Knowing him, it shouldn't have taken him this long.
And a lot more aggression than I anticipated.
What about Geffen? What if he got on one of the lifeboats?
I doubt it. There's still plenty of women and children on deck.
And they'll all be heading down to where the remaining boats are. Come on! Come on!
No. No one can know!
Women and children only! I said no more boys!
I'm not leaving my sons!
Listen carefully, Jane. You get in this one. The three of us will grab the next one.
I don't know if I...
Now listen, we don't have time. We've only known each other for a few days. That should spare us the unwillingness to part.
Just promise me that you'll fight for your life.
I promise.
Anyone else?
Monsieur, my little ones.
Here, I'll take him.
Jamie? Bennion?
Get back! I said get back!